Are you ready to rumble?
I clapped so hard. Jesus, why?
We are feeling chaotic in Tattoo Homewreckers. Welcome to Tattoo Homewreckers. This is the podcast where we talk about tattoos, life, and everything in between. My name is Callista, and this is
Lou.
And today we are going to talk about something that's kind of been bothering us for a minute. We are going to talk about social media in the tattoo industry and how it's changed things. But more importantly, Photoshop and Facetune. Holy shit.
Caring about fucking social media clout over your clients.
There we go.
So, yes, we have. If you're like, wait, haven't you already done an episode on social media? We have. These are, I want to say newer issues, but more accurately issues that have just come to light for us. To be clear, I do think they are like
becoming
newer. Becoming more and more prevalent.
There's more issues becoming like very apparent, and things that are growing, aka Photoshop and face tuning your tattoos is starting to hit like the local tattoo industry for us, and we're starting to notice it, and other artists are starting to notice it, and we want to talk about it. And as far as photoshopping and or face tuning your tattoos, I've made this joke before that if you're gonna do it, at least be good at it. But in all reality, I just want to preface with you shouldn't be doing it at all. We have hot takes. I don't even think there are hot takes on it. Our opinion is that it is misleading. It's lying to clients.
It's false advertisement. On what you can actually do for a tattoo. What you as an artist can do, and also on what can actually be done
on skin. And it's harmful to other tattoo artists, especially tattoo apprentices who are just starting out, but also just tattoo artists that have been in the game for a while, because until it was exposed that tattooers are using Facetune and Photoshop, it's hard to spot if you don't have a good Photoshop eye or Facetune eye. And I'll own up to this right now. I'm unusually good at spotting Photoshopped images.
I am not.
I don't think the average person is, regardless of you being an artist or not, especially as tattoo artists. It's not, Photoshop isn't something that all of us quite focus on. A lot of us are more focused on tattooing because that's how we spend our days. We spend our days tattooing. We don't spend our days Photoshopping.
Can I just add something in? I also just want to clarify that adjusting your photograph so it looks like the actual tattoo is not the same thing as photoshopping it.
Yeah.
So if it comes down to the fact of oftentimes tattoos can look really good in person, and then you take a picture and it looks slightly washed out.
Yes.
So you adjust your contrast or you adjust the skin tone, because cameras are inherently racist. So when I tattoo any of my darker pigmented clients, it will oftentimes make their skin look like a weird fucking color. And so then I will go in and adjust where it's okay, you had a more, say, yellow-based skin tone or a more red-based, and fix that, because oftentimes when you photograph anyone who has more pigment, it will come out more green, which is not their skin tone. And I think having that be said, you can adjust the contrast and value of it so it looks like an accurate depiction of the tattoo.
Of what you see in real life.
Not so it looks darker than the tattoo. Not so that way it looks better.
Let's touch on that. Let's touch on, before we really get into it, the nitty-gritty of editing photos. I think I agree with you, especially in certain lighting. If you work in a studio where they provide the lighting for photos, a lot of the times that lighting has a tendency to wash out darker skin clients. I've had that before. And seeing it is kind of crazy, because you're oh my gosh, no, this client is darker. Or I've stepped in front of that lighting before and been my skin is definitely darker than the photo portrayed. Because lighting can do a lot of different things to your tattoos. So as far as the morally gray goes, or the morally whatever goes, I think lighting has a lot to do with photos. Photos in general are hard with tattoos. Again, they're a lot more difficult because we spend most of our time tattooing. Most of us don't have a background in photography. And even with that being said, you could have a background in photography, but for the most part, we're all taking photos on our phones. Because again, gosh, the industry has become very saturated with, okay, like get the best cameras, get the best editing, get the best, et cetera, which is like good in one end, but can also be incredibly harmful on another end. And that'll be a conversation for later as far as what technology like you should use or can use or
can afford.
Because I still get envious at really high quality cameras, but I do notice a Facetune video when I see one. So with that being said, as far as like editing your photos so that way it looks more realistic to what the client looks like or what you see in real life, that I feel like is morally just. I personally am of the opinion that like, yes, this photo should reflect what you see in real life. It's when your tattoo is quite literally impossible to achieve on the skin is where I'm like, I think this is morally wrong. Again, it's false advertisement. It's lying to your clients. And I have seen some poorly photoshopped tattoos.
Especially as of late.
As of late,
It's been happening a lot more.
There's something that happens when people first get into photo editing where they go too far one end and you're like, oh my God, like, okay, so you just started editing your photos to look like this. But the reality is that like, it may not be obvious to everyone, but for those who know, it's painfully obvious. Your tattoo shouldn't look like it is quite literally photoshopped or you went into Procreate and slapped that design on that person. It shouldn't be advertised as a tattoo that is done. One of the biggest, like, I guess, things to watch out for in a Photoshop tattoo is if you don't notice any texture on the actual tattoo and the skin around it, it is probably photoshopped or facetuned. Same thing with
we have pores, and most people when you first tattoo them, like this is back before we could like Photoshop our stuff when we were still taking pictures on film. A lot of times when you take photographs, you end up getting an exaggeration of those pores because as we've damaged the skin, they open up more.
Oh, for sure.
And as your skin becomes puffy, you're going to see like redness around the edges. But like that to me is one of the biggest things. Like when you started pointing out these people photoshopping, because the difficult part is that when you're looking at it on your phone, which most of us are viewing social media on our phone, you're not going to see that.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're not zooming in. So you're just like, that's an amazing looking tattoo, which is why it's false advertisement. Because then when you like zoom in, you're like, no, you went in there with like Procreate or Photoshop and smoothed all this out, made your blacks way darker. And then you can see like other areas of if you guys can hear that, it's Guinness drinking water. Like, yeah, you can see her. But I think like for me, I am completely ignorant of that because I don't think about photoshopping or even face tuning. I'm not a huge fan of using a lot of filters on like my photographs of like myself even, unless it's cat loo, because that one's good.
Well, at that point, it's like funny.
Yeah,
so if it's all about intent.
Yes, I'm down with it, but I understand for myself and for other people that it can be really harmful if we never see texture of our skin. So I don't like to do it on my own face, let alone like I did not know until a couple months ago that people were doing this to their tattoos. Like that to me was fucking just astonishing. And of course we have friends that are in like social media and they're like, yeah, obviously like you can tell. And I'm like, I can't tell, which is why I was like, yes, we should absolutely talk about this.
Oh, for sure.
Because if I can't tell and I'm in the industry, because I would never think to do that it's insane to me that people would do it.
For sure. And I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, how do you justify that? And I have met an artist before that openly told me that he edits his photos and goes back in with Procreate and retouches certain things. And he's like, well, why? Why not do it when I know that like I can pull a clean line? But then you reach the point where it's like, if you know, okay, so yeah, you can pull a clean line, but like, when you're editing your wonky lines, because you know you've pulled a clean line before, that's where we're stepping into this like morally unjust territory of at what point are you editing your photos so much to where your clients aren't receiving the quality of work that they think they're going to get. And as well as like, you're not just advertising to clients who have been tattooed before, you're advertising to hopeful people who have never been tattooed before. And these people are going to get tattooed by other tattoo artists and wonder, why doesn't my fresh tattoo look like that photoshopped image I saw a week ago on Instagram? Maybe I should go to that artist because then my fresh tattoo will look like that. And then they go to that artist and get tattooed and they realize like, oh shit, wait a second. Like no tattoos look like that. If they can even like, perceive that or like, confirmation bias is a crazy thing.
Yes.
Right?
Or we end up with people like I have numerous clients at the moment who have suffered because of this. So now are coming in with tattoos that are not what they asked for because they saw that person's work online and were like, oh my gosh, this person's great because they photoshopped everything. And then they went and got tattooed and are now looking at their tattoos being like, this looks nothing like their work online.
Totally.
And the amount of clients that happens to is ridiculous. And to be very clear, it's not on the client to know that you're photoshopping your shit. It's on the people that are doing it, which is where it's wrong. And if you think that it's on the client, then I would ask like how you feel about diet culture.
Oh yeah.
How do you feel about like celebrities always being photoshopped? And if you're like, oh yeah, that's wrong. Yeah, it's wrong to do this sort of false advertisement because this lasts the rest of people's lives.
I love that you brought that up. I love that you brought up the whole like editing photos of like celebrities' bodies or like even like social media influencers have a tendency to do that too. One of the accounts that we follow, her name's Danae Mercer, continuously posts videos of like, here's what you can do on Facetune. You can Facetune videos now. Facetune videos of your waist being smaller than it actually looks like. So why couldn't you Facetune tattoos? It's happening. Yeah. It is a real problem in this industry.
And just like you wouldn't appreciate somebody who's, say, a physical trainer doing that, so that way they're lying about the results they're gaining, I don't think that it's okay to do it with tattoos.
Well, yeah, because then it's like, on one hand, like you're promoting this culture which is deeply saturated in body dysmorphia, where it's like, why don't I look like that when that person doesn't even look like that? Those are not achievable standards. You are promoting tattoo dysmorphia, which is, why doesn't my tattoo look like what I saw on their Instagram? Oh my gosh. Like at the end of the day, they're going to figure it out. So why even start photoshopping or facetuning your tattoos?
Which I think takes us to the next point of why people do it.
Oh my God, yes.
And it's, in all honesty, I think it's less to do with actual clients and gaining clients and more to do with fellow tattoo artists.
Oh my gosh, yes. There's this thing that's happening where tattoo artists are trying to chase clout from the industry and forgetting that at the end of the day, our clients are the backbone of this industry. Our clients are the reason why we have food on the table. And not only that, besides the monetary value of what they're giving us, our clients are the reason why we're able to do artwork every day. How special is that? How intimate is that someone put their trust in you for you altering their body permanently for the rest of their lives? That's a beautiful, sacred relationship. Yet somehow we're chasing this, like, I want to be respected by other tattoo artists in this industry. I need to be known as like the cleanest tattoo artist out there. I need to be known as like a famous person on Instagram. So that way the people around me can respect me. But I mean, here's the thing, at the end of the day, that's like not a fight that is ever going to help you or your clients in the long run. Or your art. You're not going to get better by chasing likes and chasing follows. Because at the end of the day, that's not what's going to fill your chair. And we know that because like we don't have a crazy ton of followers on like, as it comes to social media, I am definitely failing at that thing. Oh my gosh, it hurts me. And I've had this like dilemma for the longest time of like, gosh, I feel so shitty that like I'm not performing well on Instagram. But at the end of the day, I look at my calendar and I'm like, but my chair is full. But I don't get cancellations because my clients have been waiting months to get this tattoo. And I'm not trying to put myself above anybody else, but like, this is a wake-up call. I want to give people out there a wake-up call of like, your number of likes and followers don't actually matter. That doesn't like actually gauge your amount of success in this industry.
Yeah. I've been a very successful tattoo artist who I been busy my entire career.
There is no slow season for you.
Yeah, there is no slow season for me. There's no slow season for either one of us. And the reason I bring that up is because I think I average, I want to say it's like 30 likes.
Yep.
Like on a post. On every once in a while, I'll hit 100 and then I freak out and fucking hide because I'm like, oh God, all these people saw it. But I think about like other tattoo artists that I know that 100 likes is like awful. Like they would say that if they only got that many, that they bombed or they're being like shadow banned or whatever.
Totally.
And I think it's really because like for me, part of that, like why I'm in the industry is for my clients, not just to be able to like put tattoos on skin, which don't get me wrong, the best thing in the world to me. But it is that connection that you share with this person and that group project aspect of it that I live for group projects. That's why I have a business partner.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I have like a great group of friends that we all do business together because like that's what I love. And I love that aspect of my clients. And I think that like for me, because I thankfully started out before social media had like infiltrated tattooing, that part didn't affect me as much. It will every once in a while where I'll be like, man, well, wouldn't it be easier to get business if I like had more followers? But then I think about the fact that I'm like, we're already super busy. What the fuck would we do with more people?
Oh God, I'm like stressed to think.
Yeah. And I, once again, get scared when our business account, which I don't even have access to, but when it gets a ton of like interaction, it'll blow up my phone as well. Cause usually I'm tagged in the post.
Yep.
And then I just fucking put my phone somewhere and I leave it for like 4 days.
Yeah.
Because I'm scared. Cause I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Because I think of social media in a very like, I don't know, literal way that in my brain, I'm like 34 people liked this post. If there were 34 people in this room right now, I would be overwhelmed. And so I think of it still in that sense, which means that like, I'm the fucking worst person to be like, yeah, fucking Instagram clout.
Oh no. Well, speaking as like the Gen Zer, I grew up with social media. I grew up with that as the currency of your self-worth. How well you did
Can you
on
say
social.
that one more time?
Absolutely. I grew up with social media being the currency of your self-worth.
Which is why so many tattoo artists are chasing clout within the industry. Yeah. Because that's what they see as their self-worth instead of the relationships they share with their clients.
Well, at the end of the day, too, to circle back to the whole Photoshop thing, you know, we're big on connecting with our clients. Like I said, it is a sacred relationship. Thank you for trusting me to permanently alter the appearance of your body. And we're very big on like every tattoo we do, we want it to make you feel more connected to your body, not disconnected. Because we both have had tattoo experiences which left us disconnected. And it is awful. It is a horrible experience. And we want to avoid that as much as possible. But with that being said, you cannot have connection without honesty.
Yep.
If you're promoting work that isn't true to what it actually looks like in real life, if you're face tuning your tattoos or photoshopping them to make sure that your lines are going in Procreate to make sure that your lines are crispier, that your blacks are the void, literal void, then that's not being honest. And that's the foundation to trust. That is the foundation to connecting with people, which is why we're so passionate. And we're also passionate about, again, the clout chasing isn't going to help your career. It's not going to help you in the long run. It's not going to help your connections with your clients in the long run. Being authentic is something that is hard to come by. And here's the thing with authenticity. It's not going to be a crowd pleaser. And you also have to learn to be okay with that.
And I have to say, just to like back up authenticity, your clients can tell and they will love you for that.
Oh, for sure.
Because like I've said it time and time again, I'm a solid tattoo artist. I'm not the best tattoo artist. Like I'm far from it. And my clients don't care about that. They're not looking for perfection. And I think that's the problem with like going on and like editing your stuff, like your tattoos in post, is that you are worried about it being perfect because you're worried about what other people are going to think when they see it. But at the end of the day, the only person that fucking matters is your client. Because I've tattooed plenty of things that I'm like, I don't necessarily want to like post this, but my client fucking loves it. And did I love it artistically? No. Could it have been better? Yes. but was it what they wanted? Yes. And that's actually
yes.
the only thing that matters is that like you said, it makes them feel more connected and more embodied within their body, that I think is just like something that like no amount of fucking likes can do that.
Oh no, absolutely not. And I mean, there are certain pieces where I'm like, oh gosh, like today is going to be kind of a straightforward day. I'm not going to feel artistically recharged by this, but I've had clients walk away. So there's no better feeling than your client being like, holy shit, like this is what my body was meant to look like. Like I'm so stoked about this tattoo. And watching them like light up and glow and having that reaffirming feeling of like, this is the reason why I do this job. This is the reason why I take on these pieces, even though like I might not necessarily be like pushing my career in an artistic direction that like I would want to go, but like I built this connection with this person. Who knows? Maybe one day they will want a badass gay demon girl tattooed on them. Keep the door open, right?
Or maybe that was it. Maybe they'll get that one piece and they love it and they're super happy with it and it's great.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. They'll be stoked for the rest of their lives. And they'll know that like they got tattooed by someone who like respected them.
Yeah.
And part of that respect is, again, stop false advertising. The clout chasing too. I just want to bring this up. The buying of followers. We can tell when you buy followers. Unfortunately,
that's my favorite thing to detect because that's pattern recognition, and that's my favorite because like part of my neurospicy is that I like numbers a lot, so I keep track of numbers. So random shit that comes up on my page, I'll be like, oh, this person usually gets this many follows or this many likes or interactions, and those numbers are what stay the most with me. And then all of a sudden it goes from like, oh, you typically get like 200 likes on a post, or you're getting 6,000 likes, and people can tell.
Yeah. Can we like finally put this on the table and actually like shine some light on it? People can tell. People know when you've bought likes, and typically my pattern recognition is not as good, but I always see like, oh, someone's account got hacked before their followers got boosted. And it's becoming more of, again, a widespread thing in the industry. Like we know when you've bought followers because that like growth overnight, especially if you haven't done anything different with your content. If there is growth overnight and this is, it just like was random, and I get it. Sometimes the algorithm works that way, but the retention isn't the same. We've gone viral a few times, but that doesn't mean our follower count boosts. And that's simply just how the game works. You know, people can tell. And I know that like some people might have the mentality of like, well, buying followers doesn't hurt anybody else. It actually does. You are still partaking in this environment of, or this like mindset of clout is what's important. I need to make sure that like I look famous, and that harms people because again, the people who aren't doing that, the people who don't realize that like, oh wait, face tuning my tattoos is an option or buying followers is an option. They're left wondering like, why aren't I good enough? Why aren't my tattoos good enough? And it's the same thing with your bodies where like I've had it done before. I mean, as women, we can totally speak on this. Why doesn't my body look like that? Guess what? Nobody's body looks like that.
Yep.
That is a true and honest fact. We've all done it. Looked at a magazine and gone, or a movie even, and gone, why don't I look like that? I put in work. Why don't I look like that?
Why don't I look like Chris Pratt?
Or period.
Chris Hemsworth,
Chris Evans, all the Chris's.
Yeah, all the Chris's.
All the Chris's.
And then I don't look like that because in order for them to look like that, they had a personal trainer, a fucking chef, and they train right before that scene so that way they're extra pumped.
Oh my gosh, yes. That is Hollywood. Is Zac Efron doing fucking 100 push-ups before he gets on camera for a 3-second cameo. You know, like that's real. But like no one's talking about it, and that's why we wanted to talk about it on the podcast. It's like, come on, you know, I just as two people who don't partake in such things, and if we did, we would have serious conversations with both of us, but like we don't, point blank, period. I think it's important to use our platform to try to help other artists that may be confused, or clients that might be confused, that like don't know the difference. And it's the whole thing is disheartening. I think that like it is time for the tattoo industry to have a little bit of a wake up call, to have a little bit of a readjustment as far as where your priorities go. Because now that the industry is growing, that also means that there are a lot of bad people out there pushing you to convince your clients to get certain tattoos, or coerce people into going larger, or photoshopping your tattoos, or buying followers. And I just don't want the humanity to be lost in this industry. I mean, we are all we have. So that's my whole spiel.
That was wonderful. I have nothing to add. That was great.
Thank you.
And for anyone that watched online, you just got to see me stare at her, just fully captivated for that whole
Care
thing.
Bear stare.
Yeah, just Care Bear stare there. Okay, so on that, I think that's a good wrapping up point.
Yeah.
What was your win for the week?
Oh my gosh, my win for the week was I used to have this really big struggle about showing my face on my profile for my tattoos, because I noticed that like on sorry, that's coming.
It sounds like an air raid siren. I don't know if the mic picked that up, but I'm assuming sawing something. But genuinely it sounded like an air raid siren, and I watch entirely too much like World War II things that I was like, wait, that's an air raid? We need to go.
Yeah. That was hella funny. Sorry if you heard that. My win is basically, long story short, had a hard time showing my face on my social media. Felt really weird about my body and my face and my tattoos for a while because of it. And now I've let that all go. Now I'm just like, meh. And I think the reason why I've let that all go is because like we opened our studio, and again, our clients, like in creating a safe space for them, we have created they have created a safe space for us. And I no longer feel objectified. I no longer feel like people are only liking my posts because I'm pretty in them. I feel like people are liking my posts because they're like, that's who you are. Yes. There you are. So yeah, that's my win for the week. What is your win for the week? Well,
my win's actually really close to that, because I was going to say it's been wearing like crop tops and skirts and like being able to be more feminine at work and not worry about other people's like how they're going to interact with me. Because like working in a male studio and being somebody that's non-binary, and like I really struggle day to day with like whether or not I want to have a chest. So when I would on occasion feel like overly, like not overly, but very feminine, which to me feels like overly feminine, and I want to wear like a skirt, it was made such a big deal of that it made me never want to like change what I was wearing. And I love playing with like clothes and fashion. And so to be able to like do that was like a big like win. And it is the same like as what you were saying, where it's like our clients have provided that safe space for us. So I'm not worried about what I look like and people interacting with that.
Absolutely. And I just want to touch a little bit on that. If you are a male tattoo artist working with a female tattoo artist and she dresses differently one day, please don't make a comment on it. Even if you think it's positive. I think it's just a little bit too hard, because like there's always a weird connotation. I've yet to like really put my finger on the subtle intricacies of why it makes people uncomfortable. Yeah. But I totally feel that where like dressing masculine for me is typically safer in the tattoo industry. But gosh, is it nice to actually present as femme when I feel like being femme? Yeah,
and like now, because I'm not like perceived in that way, like I'm able to wear more colors, and I'm able to like just get dressed. I think that's the thing, is that it's that now when I get dressed, I don't think about getting dressed and having to deal with other people.
Yes.
I just think about, what do I want to wear? And that's it. And like that's probably like the biggest thing is just having the freedom and the safe space to be able to just be like, I'm just gonna wear what I want to wear, and no one's gonna say anything.
Absolutely. And I don't know if this is good advice for male tattoo artists that again work with female tattoo artists or maybe non-binary tattoo artists, but instead of making a big deal about the whole outfit, if you like it, just say like, hey dude, I like those earrings, and then leave it at that. Just fucking call it good, because there's been too many comments about overall like, whoa, you know, like, or it's just like overtly like just horrifically sexual, which is never okay. Yeah. So that's my little tidbit of advice. But yeah, thank you guys for listening.
Thank you so much.
Holy cow, it's that was one hell of an episode. Thank you guys so much. Let us know in the comments what you think about buying followers or editing your tattoos. I would love to hear it. And if you're, open enough, if you do edit your tattoos and you want to tell us why or just your opinions on that, please let us know. I would also like to know. And same thing, if you've bought followers before, let me know what you like, the reason for that is, and like why you think it's beneficial, or did it work? Do you not like it? Like, do you not like it anymore? Is it something that like harmed you even more? Yeah. Please let us know. But yeah, I think that's about it, right?
Yep.
Cool. Well, thanks guys. See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.